The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
Welcome back to another episode of Cashing Out. I'm your host, Billy Alvaro, my co-host, Wayne Hartzart. We are Easy Sell Property Solutions. You listen to us right here on 103.9, Cashing Out. You can find us here every Saturday. We move. We're on now every Saturday from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m., move from 12 to 12:30. Cuz, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing, Cuz. How are you
doing? Doing well. It's a beautiful summer day, and I'm enjoying life. In case you guys out there don't know about us, my cousin and myself, we have a family-owned business called Easy Sell Property Solutions. We've been around since 2009, and we've been buying properties. We started off in Nassau and Suffolk. We branched out to the 5 boroughs. We've been hitting other states, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. We're really starting to broaden our horizons. We're going through a massive hiring campaign. We're actually starting the first of many events tomorrow, Tuesday. Actually, you guys are listening to this on Saturday, so unfortunately, it's going to be a little off, but we're live right now on Facebook, so we're going to be doing this tomorrow, Tuesday. Tomorrow's date is what? That's the 14th, 15th, 12th? I have no idea what today's date is.
16th.
16th tomorrow. 16th at our office. At our office at 5 o'clock, we're doing a hiring spree. We're going to be bringing in acquisition managers, outside sales, account executives. We're excited for all of this. If you're in Radio Land, if you're on Facebook Live and you want an opportunity to work with myself and my cousin Wayne, hit us up on Facebook. Billy Alvaro on Facebook, Wayne Hartzart on Facebook. Send us a DM. They go by DM or PM nowadays? Is it direct message or private message?
They're changing now. It's DM.
They change everything around.
Now, yeah.
So if so about what we do, we have, like I said, Easy Sell Property Solutions. We buy properties all day, every day for cash. We have a really unique program called the Easy Way Out. And, we say it, but it's really true. It literally is the fastest, easiest, most hassle-free way to sell your property, period, guaranteed. Why is that? Because of everything we offer. We're completely untraditional. So instead of you having to put your house in the market and have ungodly amounts of people walk through and have open houses and fix the property up and pray to God that they can get approved for a mortgage, myself, my cousin, my team, we come in, we do an analysis, and literally within 15 minutes to a half an hour of going over with you over the phone, your wants, needs, and desires, we formulate a plan specific to your needs. We make you an all-cash offer closing your timeline. And when I tell you there's tons of benefits that we do. We give cash advances on the property with 0% interest rate. We move your stuff for free to anywhere within Long Island or the 5 boroughs. What else do we do? I mean, we do a lot of different things. We take the house and it's as is condition. You can leave all unwanted items inside the property. It literally is a turnkey process, fast, easy, hassle-free. We've been doing it since 2009. If you're interested, if you want us to make you a cash offer, if you want to see if we're a good fit, give us a call, 631-400-EASY. That's 631-400-EASY, or you can go right online to the website at easysell411.com. So, cuz we have a special guest. I wish he was here.
Yeah,
but
great.
This gentleman is a co-author of a book. The name of the book is 10,000 Miles to the American Dream, and it's an appropriate title because this gentleman who lives in Texas, I think he lives in San Antonio, Texas, he resided he was an Aussie, right? He was down under. He was from the land of down under, moved to the States. We're on the phone today with Jeremy Heath. Jeremy, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, g'day, Billy. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, brother. How are you?
Mate, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So, Jeremy, let's get right down to it. You guys, this book just launched, about 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, launched on July the 4th, Independence Day.
How appropriate is that?
Yeah, there you go.
How appropriate is that?
What a day.
Celebrating Independence Day. So what is the basis of the book, Jeremy? It's 10,000 Miles to the American Dream. What does that title mean? And what do you guys actually do in the real estate segment?
Yeah, basically, I co-authored the book with 7 other Australians. So there was 8 of us involved. We refer to ourselves as the real estate mates. And we all have a similar story. Came across from Australia. And most of us weren't necessarily even coming here to do real estate. But once we got here, we just all realized the abundant opportunities that did exist here in real estate. And all kind of left our lives behind. Most of us met and married American women to get our visa.
So the question is, when are you guys getting divorced?
What are they paying for that now? Are you guys mail order Aussies?
Mail order Aussies, my cousin says.
Oh, my God,
that's hysterical.
Yeah,
that's great.
That is funny.
Love it. Yeah. But then, so we were kind of then all off to the races, and we did it all independently, and I guess the guy who brought the group together, his name's Reed Goosens, and he has kind of identified us individually through his own networking, brought us together for our own little Aussie mastermind, and then the idea of the book came from that, 10,000 Miles to American Dream.
I love it. I love it. So when did you actually move to the States, Jeremy?
Mate, I got here in 2006. I originally came across with a corporate job. I used to work for a company called Accenture. They do management consulting. And I thought I was going to be here for probably 2 years max. I literally came with one suitcase and nothing else, and got started. But I think probably the big turning point for me was getting married in 2008, and then I realized I was kind of locked in for life. So that was around the time when I started to explore other things outside of the corporate world and try to look for something that gave me a little bit more flexibility and freedom.
So how did you stumble upon the real estate game? And then let's take that even a step further. What motivated you to get into the turnkey space? And I guess we're going to have to define what turnkey is once you answer the first question. So how did you stumble upon real estate?
I originally, around the time when I got married, I just, like I said, I felt that I needed to find something else outside of my corporate job, and just started reading a ton of books on real estate. I'd always had an interest in it. And then one book I read in particular spoke about the importance of a mentor. And so I engaged a real estate mentor by the name of Tim Taylor, and worked with him for many years. And he really helped me to understand a lot, not only about real estate, but also having the right mindset for success. And that's how I kind of got rolling on it.
So, you mentioned something pretty important there, a key word that I don't want people to miss, and that's the mindset piece. And, I'm finding, as many years as I've been doing business and entrepreneurship and investing in real estate, that really the mindset, the head game, it's like 80% of winning and losing starts right up here in your head. What did you learn from your mentors about the mindset game that got you set onto this path specifically?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest thing is you've got to start with a very clear vision of your future. That's really the starting point for it all. So, you've got to be able to see with absolute clarity what life's going to be like for you 10, 15, 20 years from now. And then once you've got that clarity, you then can start working around the specific actions you need to take today in terms of maybe learning new skills or, building a team or whatever it is that you need to do to actually get to that end goal. But without that clarity of the vision up front, you kind of like a ship without a rudder, and you don't really have the direction you need.
Yeah, it's that important, and I just want everybody out there listening that regardless of where you are right now, where you want to go is extremely important, but you need to have a plan. You have to have the right mindset, like Jeremy was saying, and you have to really plan this thing out over the next 5, 10, 15 years. You really need to think that far in the future, 25, 30-year plan, and then step back and figure out what you need to do today to get you there. Now coming from Australia, things are done, I'm assuming, because I know nothing about the real estate market in Australia, but are things similar or are they different between your country and ours?
Yeah, I would say there's some pretty significant differences, and that, for me personally, that was probably the big thing that made my ears prick up and get me really interested in real estate over here. So probably the biggest difference would be when you look at single-family homes, it's almost impossible to find a property in Australia that will be cash flow positive. So a good way to think of it is, like, I know you guys are in New York and, maybe some other people over in California, some of those more expensive places, because of the price of the house, it's very hard to make them cash flow positive, and Australia is like that all over. The difference here in America is such a big country, and there's so many markets all across the country that have these houses at lower price points to generate strong cash flows, and hence you can buy these investment properties that are generating cash plus building net worth at the same time.
I love it.
Yeah, that's true. We have a big country. We got a lot going on in our country. It's different, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the overall, like the mortgages and the notes? Is that similar in Australia versus the United States?
Yeah, I would say that's a really good point as well. Another big difference is over here in the US, people can get 30-year fixed interest loans. In Australia, that doesn't exist. So in Australia, you could lock loans up for 5, maybe 7 years at a certain interest rate, but you never really know, even on your personal home, where interest rates will be when that adjustable rate kicks in, which is a huge difference.
It's fixed for the first 5 to 7, and then is it a balloon where you have to refinance it, or does it automatically then start to adjust after the 5 to 7 year period?
Yeah, it tends to. They'll typically do a reset based on whatever the rate is at that point in time.
Yeah, that's kind of scary, not knowing what the hell it's going to be at.
A lot of it unknown there.
Different.
Yeah, definitely. And then another huge difference as well is they don't have like the FHA and VA type loans where you can get into properties with not much money down. So in Australia, at a minimum, you'd need 10% down, and a lot of the time it's 20% down to purchase property. So a lot more skin in the game.
A lot more skin in the game. So I'm assuming having that underwriting criteria that there's less default rates in Australia than there are here in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you see foreclosures is not even really a word that you hear over there.
No shit.
Short sales foreclosures don't even.
So
Wow.
did you, before you came over here, did you have any real estate holdings in Australia, or were you a renter? Did you own a property that you lived in? Like, tell me what that looked like.
Yeah, so I left Australia in 2001, and I've been kind of, for the 5 years between 2001 and 2006, I've been working in different countries around the world through my job. So I was pretty transient, you know. That was probably why also when I arrived here, I literally just had a single suitcase because I'd been bouncing around the world like that for work. So that was kind of the way I was living, like a backpacker, a corporate backpacker.
Yeah, nice.
I love it. So tell me now, you came to America, you decided to get into this real estate investing. How difficult of a time did you have, like literally learning a whole nother way of living? Because it is, like you said, it's completely different here in America. There's some similarities, but it's different. The good thing is you speak English, so you didn't have to learn a new language. But besides that, like, what were the stumbling blocks, the issues, the mountains you had to climb in order to start really getting this business moving?
Yeah, I would say the first thing was just the overall education, you know, and that's where the mentor came in so handy up front, because I felt like, you know, I was at an even bigger disadvantage than people that had grown up here because I just had so much to learn.
Yeah.
So once I started going through the learning process and actually starting to do my first few deals, I was amazed at how open and receptive the American people were to a guy from the outside. You know, obviously when you're flipping houses, one of the big things you have to do is raise capital to do your deals.
Yeah.
And I guess I was originally a little bit apprehensive about that because I thought, well who's going to lend me money when I'm from another country? But it never even came up as a question. And I actually presented at an event one day trying to raise capital, and I'd said at the beginning, hey, you can probably tell from my accent I'm not from around here, but I'm planning on becoming a citizen. And the whole room just stood up and started cheering, and I just thought, man, this is a great place. I think I might have called it home.
I love it. You know what I love more is that you came over here, and I don't know if you had any fear or trepidations about, you know, wanting to do this business and moving forward, but you came over not knowing much about the United States, not knowing anything about real estate. You hunkered down. You figured out. You got yourself a mentor and a coach, which I think is key. And that's a lesson that I want people to hear here. When you try to figure things out by yourself, it takes you a long freaking time to learn. Yeah. But when you bring on somebody that has been there and done that, and they're the real deal, like what you did, and you invest in yourself and your education, you get with that person to impart their knowledge onto you. Look at where you've come from in the last 10, 13 years. I mean, you've come literally from having zero understanding about this industry. Now you're doing over 100 deals a year in the Texas market. I mean, that's outstanding, brother.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I appreciate it. And just to kind of give you an idea, I guess, of the timeline, I did my first deal in 2009, but I was still working in the corporate world for probably about 2 years after that. And then I actually joined a mastermind group with Tim Taylor, who was my original mentor. And when I joined that group, I realized I was the only guy that still had a full-time job. So probably within a month of that first meeting with everybody, I quit my job knowing, like, in order to compete, I've got to be all in on this.
So it's a good point, though. I'm sure a lot of people out there listening, a lot of people have that struggle of getting from that corporate world to making that jump. So I'd love to know if you could divulge on that, when you got ready for that jump, when you knew it was happening and how you did it, because there's many people that ask us all the time, how do you do it? They're afraid. They're always afraid to make that leap.
It's a big move, Jeremy. When you have, at the time you had a wife. I don't know if you had kids at the time. Did you have kids?
No, no kids, just me and her.
All right, so you and her, new country, you have a job which is a guaranteed salary. I'm assuming you weren't on just commission only. I'm assuming there was some sort of a base to what you were making. Yeah. Like my cousin said, making that jump from going to a secure job to where you have your benefits, you have your guaranteed paycheck, to cutting that rope, cutting that safety line, and jumping into the entrepreneurship full time. How did you make that leap?
Well, I think one of the big things that drove me is I'm a competitive guy. So when I got into that mastermind group, I went in there with the intention of, trying to be on top. I'm just competitive like that, and right. And I just saw that these other guys were all highly skilled and highly focused, and all wanted to do well. And I just knew it was like trying to fight a boxing match with one arm tied behind my back.
Yeah.
But then I think when I made the decision to actually quit my job, I did think about it a lot. I was very nervous, but I just said to myself, there is no way I'm going to make this not work for me, and I'll do whatever I need to, especially in the launching phase, to make it happen. And just kind of, my wife and I were also on the same page with that, so I had her support, and we just went all in.
Yeah, that's key as well. When you have the support of your life partner, and they're backing you up, and they're believing in what you're doing, and they're not holding you down, that's a blessing right there in and of itself. Because if there's any type of friction with your life partner, and they're like, listen, I'm not comfortable, I don't want you to do this, I'm afraid, I need the paycheck, all that's going to do is cause friction between the both of you. And then when there are some hurdles, which there always is hurdles, there's always ups and downs, there's always ebbs and flows. When that happens, some people, they turn around and say, I told you, honey, this is not for us. Go back and get your regular job. So I'm glad that you had somebody that was supportive in that role, because it is freaking important for them to support. So you made the leap, you came over, you started doing this. Now, what made you decide to get into the niche that you're doing, right? So you're not just flipping, but you're actually doing turnkey, and then you're managing these properties, I believe, on behalf of the investors that you're selling them over to. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly correct.
All right, so give me your definition. What does turnkey mean for the people out there in Radio Land who don't understand what turnkey means?
I would say turnkey real estate, the simplest way to describe it is it's a hassle-free way for everyday people to invest and own real estate without having to worry about all of the issues around rehabbing it and managing the property. So essentially, the best comparison I like to use is just like, people may go to a financial advisor who gives them advice on what stocks to put their retirement money into. Turnkey real estate kind of provides something similar, but on the real estate side, where if you've got capital to invest, you can find a turnkey provider that will find you the assets, and then you basically just have to, buy the properties and provide the financing, and they look after the rest.
So it's literally a hassle-free transaction for these investors. They're not doing anything except just investing their money and collecting the residuals on a monthly basis. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, absolutely. And and I think just like any other investment, the job that the investor would have is to monitor the performance of the investment, and then that may lead to decisions of maybe increasing the investment amount, maybe make some changes, just like you would if you had a bunch of stock. You can't just kind of set it and forget it. You have to keep your eye on it and make adjustments as based on your goals.
I love it. It's a market that I wish we had here in Long Island. Myself and my cousin, we would love nothing more than to be a provider like that. But as you said earlier in the conversation, New York, Long Island especially, is just cash flowing properties here just are almost non-existent. You have to put down a shitload of money in order to have these properties cash flow, and even then, with all the money you're putting down, because the taxes are so high here, it eats up the basis, and you're ending up with such a small cash on cash return that it's almost not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and I guess that's. Sorry, I was going to say one of the beauties of turnkey properties, I think, is that it makes these cash flowing markets available to people from all around the world. So I'm actually going to Australia in a couple of days' time because I'm going to the Australian Real Estate Expo. Just looking to network with people in Australia, because I know that there's people in Australia that would be very interested in purchasing these properties in the US, and and it is available to anybody, no matter where you are.
Yeah, that's
why
key,
they?
brother.
They
I
don't
mean,
have
why
to.
wouldn't they? You just got done telling us that they have 5 to 7 years over in Australia and they can't cash flow anything. So with your connections there, bringing that money over to the United States and reinvesting it for them on their behalfs, it's a win all the way around. I mean, it's a win for your clients, it's a win for your investors, it's a win for the home sellers who are selling the properties, and it's a win for your organization. So kudos to you on that. Listen, we have about a minute left. We're going to take a break. I just want to do a little plug. Wayne, you want to talk about what we do real quick before we go to break?
Yeah, folks, we're Easy Sell Property Solutions. We're family-owned and operated. Billy and I, we started it years ago. So if you have a house you're looking to sell, we do not care the condition of it. It could be dilapidated, falling apart. You could be behind on your taxes. It could be whatever it may be. You could be short sale. We do not care, folks. Any condition, we'll purchase the property in as-is condition. We brand something called the Easy Way Out, and it literally is the fastest, easiest, most hassle-free way to sell your property in today's conditions. Please give us a shout, 631-400-EASY. That's 631-400-EASY, or reach us on the web at easysell411.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Boom. Welcome back. This is Billy Alvaro, Wayne Hartart. We are Easy Sell Property Solutions. You're listening to us right here on 103.9 FM. Cashing Out. You can find us here every Saturday from 6 to 7 p.m. We're talking today with Jeremy Heath from Australia, but he's currently living in Texas. Jeremy is a turnkey provider. He came over to the States with literally zero knowledge of investing in real estate. Within a few short years, he went from working at a corporate job to quitting that job, starting full-time, himself and his wife, and going into the turnkey business, which basically means what he does is he offers investors out there a solution to really grow their retirement accounts without them having to go out there, find properties, renovate properties, fix properties, deal with the tenants. All they do, the investors, is contact Jeremy, and they can go to his website at AmericanTurnkeyProperties.com. That's www.AmericanTurnkeyProperties.com. And what Jeremy's company does is they go out and they look for really good assets that they can pick up relatively cheap, renovate, and then offer to, and if I'm off base on this, let me know, but then offer to an investor with a tenant in place where the investor is now earning a nice residual return on a monthly basis. Jeremy, that basically sums it up, correct?
Yeah, great job. I was right on the mark.
I want in. I want to invest with Jeremy.
Seriously.
We can't make our returns out here,
No,
brother.
you
Long
can't.
Island is great for flipping, but it's horrible for turnkey.
It's horrible for the turnkey. Folks, if you're out there, listen, I mean, you got to be thinking to yourself, like, he takes out all the guesswork here. You have to, nothing. Just invest your money. You don't have to go find and source the properties like what we do. You don't have to renovate. We all know how many headaches that is. I mean, we do it for a living, but it's a challenge. And then you don't have to manage the tenants, which is another nightmare that's there.
Listen, we know firsthand.
Turnkey.
Turnkey is turnkey. We know firsthand, and Jeremy, I know you can attest. Finding the properties in and of itself is a job and a half.
Yep.
Raising the money, job and a half. Going through and dealing with the town and the renovations and the contractors. It's a lot of stress and it's a lot of struggle. It's a lot that, myself and my cousin, we say we're real estate investors, but we're really active real estate investors on this part of the business with the renovation side. And so what you're offering to people out there who really want to experience financial freedom is a turnkey solution. Really, it's like on a silver platter.
Yeah.
You're offering them a return. Let's get into your returns. Like, what is the average? And I know every house is different, every investment's different, but what's the average returns that your investors look at with these properties that you're giving them turnkey?
Great question.
Yeah, so if it was an all-cash purchase on a property, we would be right around the 6 to 7% return on the cash, and that's not factoring in any appreciation. And that does take out all of your expenses as well. There's a factor in there for vacancies, for repairs, property management, for the property taxes. You're still going to make 6 to 7% on that. And then the appreciation in the San Antonio market over the last 20 years has been like 7, 8%. If it was that for the next 20, I'd be pretty happy as well. But I would say conservatively, you're looking at least 3 to 5% on the appreciation over time as well.
Phenomenal returns, by the way. If that 6 to 7 is true after all expenses, after loss factor, after the management fee, that's a very good return. Take on top of that the appreciation factor. I mean, it's a home run.
Yeah.
Right. It's definitely a home run. Do you find that your investors are coming in all cash, or are they financing?
I find that most of the customers end up leveraging at some point, and the main reason is because with leverage you get a bigger portfolio, and with a bigger portfolio you get a much bigger impact on the appreciation side. And I think that's really where all the wealth is pretty much built on that appreciation side on a big portfolio.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about that.
I was just thinking, what's the average purchase price on these types of properties?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, they sell for anywhere from like 150 to 180 is pretty much a sweet spot of properties, and then they'll be renting for anywhere from 1,400 to 1,550 type rents.
They say that accent sometimes with your accent, 14 to 1,500. Is that what you said?
What was that? Sorry. Did
you say 1,400 to 1,500 a month is what they're rented for?
Yeah. Maybe on the low end, maybe 1,300 on some of the cheap ones, but probably a 13 to 1,550
is that accent. It's that English accent. You speak in English, but sometimes we're lost. We're like, what is he saying over there?
I love it.
I'll try to tone it down. I'll hold my nose.
If you could see us in the radio, we both looked at each other and we said, what did he say?
Jeremy, that pickup price, what kind of cushion do you have in there? Like, they're not buying full ARV, so what kind of equity do they have in the property when they're purchasing?
Yeah, when they're purchasing, it depends. I have two different models. So one where investors purchase the properties pre-construction, and when they do that, I'm able to build more equity in up front. It's going to be in the range of probably 15 grand up front. And then if they're buying it after and they're getting regular financing, then there might be like a $5K deduction from the market price.
Okay.
But one of the things I would add on top of that is within our properties, when we rehab them with the goal of having predictable maintenance for the first 5 to 10 years. So, for example, on all of our properties, we would put all tile throughout the properties. We use a nice tile plank, a ceramic tile plank, so it kind of looks like a wood floor, but it's ceramic, so it's going to last forever. So we do that in the remodel up front so that, the owner doesn't have to change the carpet every time or redo laminate floors. It's no more cost moving forward on that flooring.
That's smart. So you're thinking ahead. Those would have been one of my questions. What kind of renovations are you doing, and how long is everything lasting? Because you want to be, you don't know what you're putting in there, but if you're putting the right people in there, they should take care of it. But it's easier, like you said, doing tile and certain things. So what other things, if people out there listening, are you doing inside the houses that help everything last a little bit longer on the renovation side?
I'd say at the heart of our philosophy is all about quality. So I used to own rental properties when I first got involved in investing, but it was the lower end stuff, and I ended up selling them all because it ended up just being a total hassle. And so since I've restarted this turnkey business and set up the property management company, we've had a whole different approach, and the approach is rehab the properties to a retail level and have a rigorous sign-off inspection process as part of that to make sure that we've got quality on the houses.
Yeah, right.
And then that quality product is going to attract a quality tenant that then tends to probably look after that property more, and then it kind of is a win-win for everybody. You got a better tenant, they got a better house, and everyone behaves themselves.
Yeah. We just went through that here in Long Island. We cleaned up because we had a lot of properties in the C and D areas, and I got to tell you, I don't care how cheap you buy those properties, it's just not worth it, in my opinion, to deal with the type of people that are in there. They just don't care about anything. And so we took the approach where let's make these properties look real nice, and we'll give them a real nice, clean, good place to live, quality. And even with that, it just didn't work. It didn't work out with the C and D. I'm all about the B areas, B plus areas, and of course the A areas, but they're sometimes listed a little unaffordable. You can't make the numbers work. Yeah. Can't make the numbers work. So, Jeremy, how are you going about moving up the ladder? How are you going about sourcing your properties? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, we because before we got into the turnkey space, we were flipping houses. So, a lot of it comes down to what you spend on the marketing and the effectiveness of the marketing you're doing. So, we run a lot of marketing here locally to pick up the best deals, and I have a team that's specifically dedicated to the acquisition of the properties on the front end, so we can get them at the right price.
I love it. How many people on your team right now do you have?
Across the board, our entire team is sitting at 9 at the moment. And on the acquisition side, we've got 4 people working the acquisitions.
I love it. Very similar to our business model.
Very good.
Very similar.
Yeah, very similar. And then what about on the construction side? Are you guys controlling the construction? You own a construction company there, or are you guys subbing all that out for your people?
Yeah, we control all the construction side. I have a construction manager, and then he has an assistant that's actually a virtual assistant. We use a software called Builder Trend, and that really enables us to act, I guess, as like a new home builder would, where we schedule all the trades, we schedule the material deliveries, and control the whole construction process.
Yeah, that's actually a great program. We're actually copying that program and putting it into a system that we have, Podio. But yeah, that's one of the top programs. I did all the research on it on our rehab side. Yeah,
it's real good.
Yeah, that's a top one. So that's good. It helps keep. I mean, listen, you did it right. You created the systems for it, and that's how you made it. That's how you made it this way it is. If we have people out there that I know we're pushing them towards the site, could you maybe run them through? If they go on there and they reach out to you, what's the next step if they want to invest with you? What can they expect over the next month or two? How do are they going to see properties in progress? Like what would everybody?
Yeah, one of the big reasons why I got into turnkey, to be honest, was I'd been flipping a bunch of houses. We've done over 500 deals now, and a couple of years ago, I had this epiphany, which didn't matter how many houses that I flipped. What mattered was how many I could hold, and at that point, I then got focused on trying to acquire my own rentals, and through that process, I engaged a couple of my private lenders that were actually lending me cash to do deals, and spoke to them about what I was doing personally, and they were interested in building their own rental portfolios. So through that process, I guess I kind of created a process that I now follow, which is a lot like an advisory type role, where I start by understanding what the investors' goals are and help them to lay out their long-term vision, because I think it all starts with that. And then once we have clarity on that, the cool thing about building these rental portfolios is there's so many different ways you can structure the portfolios based on the investing goals. So whether you're trying to get cash flow today or cash flow in 10 years, we can structure it in a way to suit your needs. And that's kind of the starting point of, relationship that I would have with anyone, to get that vision and that plan together. And then once we're good with that, we can get started on the purchase side.
I love
it.
Great,
yeah. I mean, literally like financial planners. You sit down, you have an initial conversation with them, you address the goals, where you want to be, what type of, and then put them into the right portfolio or the right properties. I mean, you really have it dialed down. I love it.
How are you sourcing your turnkey buyers? Like, I know what you're doing on the acquisition side. What does the turnkey piece look like? Like, how are you going out there and finding your investors?
Yeah, so far a lot of it has been word of mouth and then referrals from people that we know. So, we've got a good reputation here locally for what we do, and then the lenders and investors that I've worked with on the rehab side, some of them have worked with us or they've referred people that they know, and that's really how we got started. Now that we've established the base of the model, we have our property management company set up. We're managing over 100 properties. We're now looking to market more broadly. It's one of the reasons why I'm going to Australia this week is to be at the event and to just connect with the local investor groups down there and let people know about what we have to offer here in Texas.
Great.
Yeah, good luck with that, brother. That's big moves, and I think because you're right from the country, they're gonna take to you, and you show them the returns you're getting out here in the United States. They're gonna be all over it.
Yeah,
it's gonna explode your business. It's gonna take it to the next level for sure.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, definitely excited about it, and another reason why I got into it was, my mum's living back in Australia, and not that I need an excuse to go see her, but I thought, hey, it's pretty cool if I'm going back to Australia once or twice a year and see my mum and knock out some business as well.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Two birds with one stone. There you go. Always thinking.
Love it.
Always thinking. I think what you got to do is do some seminars in the more expensive states. Now you got to get out to New York. You got to get out. We'll start pushing you out, but I mean, you come into these states, people are going to eat it up too. You're going to get a ton of people that would love to get involved with you because we can't get it up. Like we said, Billy mentioned, we just can't get it up.
Right.
Here.
You start doing seminars on the East Coast, West Coast, and you'll be pulling in quite many people that just looking to put their money somewhere and not here.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. So this whole basis, you created this whole system, and you wrote the book with your mates, and that URL with the people that you from Australia that wrote the book is what? Realestatemates.com?
Yeah, if you go to realestatemates.com, you'll see a story on each of the 8 authors and a little bit about the book, so you can find out a little bit more about us blokes.
The bloats. Yeah, you bloated bastards.
I think it's blokes, right?
Blokes? I call them bloated.
It's blokes, right? It's
blokes and
Sheilas. Yeah, I love it.
It's different. They speak that way. It's English, but they have different words.
It's a different form of English.
You use the word rubbish too. Is that another word you guys use? One of you ever?
Yeah, we'll say rubbish, and instead of gas, we'll say petrol. Or one of my favorites is instead of a sweater, we call it a jumper.
A jumper. I love it. You guys are crazy.
It's like the English though. I had the luxury years ago. I lived in Majorca, Spain for 6 months when I was back in food and beverage, and I had to open up a nightclub and restaurant there, and it was all English people that would come down there, and they would talk to me, and I would be similar to you. I'd be like, "What? It's English, but I can't understand it. Like, where do these words come from? We don't say these words."
It's hilarious because you guys have some pretty thick accents yourself.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying.
Forget about it. Hey.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So, Jeremy, are you gonna stay? Are you gonna stay in the Texas market? Or do you have any plans on broadening out and going to different areas to start doing turnkey?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, we're really focused on San Antonio. I personally am very, very bullish about the future outlook here in San Antonio. I think, when you look at Texas overall, there's just been so much growth going on here, and I think San Antonio has a little bit of a sleeper where it hasn't gotten as many people's radars as places like Dallas or Houston have, and I think this is going to be the next city that's going to explode in the next 10, 20 years here in Texas, especially with the proximity to Mexico as well and the big Hispanic community we have here.
Yeah. Last time I was out in San Antonio, I was in the Air Force there, Lackland Air Force Base, and that was probably, I don't even know, 35 years ago.
Nice. Showing your age.
Showing my age. There you go. For sure. But I remember the town, beautiful area, San Antonio. The houses are all made out of what? They're all CBS out there or no? Are they all block?
Yes. They're all like on slabs, ranch-style homes.
Right.
It's pretty traditional, yeah.
Are they made out of wood or are they made out of block out there?
They'll do a mix of different stuff. So a lot of the time they just have like a hardy siding, or they may have it may be all brick, or you may have like a brick face with the hardy siding. That's pretty typical in new construction now.
Right, I love it. We got to get out there and check these boys out. Who else do we have from the show that was in Texas? We had Sam Craven.
Sam was out there. There's a lot of.
Where is he?
Everybody from
Everybody
from Multiplies.
From the Multiplies
is Texas. The whole state. The majority of them are all out there.
Have you got involved with the multipliers yet? You offline. We should talk about that. A bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Bunch of guys that are.
I was going to say I'm friends with Chris Arnold, and I spoke to him a bit about it, and then. I've got another friend who was in my Tim Taylor mastermind, Ed, who was his part of the group as well.
Yeah, Ed.
Ed.
Yeah, Eddie.
The one up in,
listen, just a bunch of solid dudes, just like CG. I mean, good, solid individuals, go-givers, and most of them, like 80% of the group is from Texas, so you'd fit right in there. Chris is a solid dude.
Chris is a great guy.
So what's next in your horizon, brother? I know you're going back to your old country, but what's next? What does the next 5 years look like for you and for your business?
Mate, I just want to be super focused on building out the property management side. I would say 5 years from now to be at least 500 doors that we're managing. And through that, I also want to build my own personal portfolio as well. And, one thing I'll say to the clients or potential clients is, the properties that we hold ourselves are treated the same as the properties that the clients have. And if anything, I think managing the client's properties has made us manage our own properties better because, I do feel a bigger accountability to the customers. And so, but I basically treat these properties like they're mine. They all get treated the same way. And so I just want to continue to focus on building out that management side and really becoming best in class in all areas on that side of the business, because I think that part is where, once you're best in class and you can keep your occupancy up and your turnovers are cheap and quick, you're really maximizing the returns for the investors once they get involved and start purchasing the products.
Yeah, no doubt. And that seems to be the area in your business, in your segment, that there's a lot of issues. It's the property management piece, right? I mean, the challenge of getting properties is one thing, renovating them is another, getting a tenant in there is another. But then when it comes down to actually managing that property, the investors that are going to be putting their money in, and I know firsthand from you that you have this down pat and you're only looking to make it better over the next couple of years. But that's an important piece to this whole entire investment piece, that if you don't have the right property management systems in place, it could really hurt the investors and their cash flow and their investments with the properties.
Yeah.
Definitely, and I think an important piece, because we're responsible on the front end for the rehab, we understand how important it is to get the highest level of quality out of the gate, because if you do that, then the management piece is easy afterwards. And so we put a lot of focus and attention and cost up front to make sure that we get it right.
I love it, brother.
No cutting corners at the beginning.
I love it. Listen, this has been a great interview. If you're looking to invest money into turnkey properties and achieve financial freedom through real estate investing, I want you to contact my friend Jeremy Heath. Go to his website, AmericanTurnkeyProperties.com. He has a really good system out in San Antonio, Texas. He's getting net after all fees, all expenses, everything, 6 to 7% annualized returns, cash on cash. He's also in that market right now. They're seeing about a 7 to 8% appreciation. Phenomenal business model. Congratulations to you, my Aussie friend. You've come to the States. You had a vision. You conquered. You're following that vision. And, a lot of people have the want and the desire, but they just can't seem to get themselves together. You, my friend, have. You're executing like an animal. I appreciate you being on the show. Myself and my cousin, we have a company called Easy Sell Property Solutions. We're located right out here in Long Island, New York. If you have a property you're looking to sell for cash, give us a call, 631-400-EASY, or online at easysell411.com. Jeremy, I'm going to give you the last word, and then my cousin also. We have 28 seconds left. You have anything you want to end up with?
Yeah, I'll just say thanks, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And like you said, Billy, if people are interested in knowing more about the mates, go to realestatemates.com, or if you want to set up a consultation with me, visit AmericanTurnkeyProperties.com, and I'd love to help anyone out.
Awesome, brother.
Awesome. Jeremy, it was great having you on, man. We had a great show. We look forward to seeing you again.
Take care, brother. Peace out.